All right, welcome to our info session on ACP. So, KC Digital Drive, a little bit about us. We were founded in 2012 by the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and the Unified Government Wyandotte County and KCK to work on digital equity issues. This happened as a result of Google Fiber coming to our region. We were the very first Google Fiber cities, and it just really amplified the digital divide in Kansas City. So from the beginning, we've worked on bridging the digital divide and improving life in the community for everyone, including families and children. And we work not only on digital equity, but also entrepreneurship and innovation. So increasingly more at the intersection of those two. So this is how we work in the community. We're a community builder. We kind of gather information, see some needs, put them through our solutions lab and come up with projects. Sometimes we work as a backbone organization. Sometimes we work just as an advisor or public benefit consultant, and then we deliver on those projects. So one of those is working to get the word out about the Affordable Connectivity Program. So for those who are brand new to this, and apologies to those who are familiar, but the ACP, the Affordable Connectivity Program, is a longer-term $14.2 billion program that was part of the Infrastructure Act that was passed a year plus ago now. Or 2 years now, maybe, time. So it provides a monthly discount up to $30 a month for eligible households for internet service with a provider of their choice, as long as that provider is participating in the program. The ISP receives those funds directly, and so they don't go to the household first. It goes from the federal government to the ISP. It's administered by this organization called USAC, and that is the same organization that oversees a program you might be more familiar with called Lifeline. And there's also a one-time $100 discount for a device that's available with a copay of more than $10 but less than $50 for a laptop, desktop, or tablet. But unfortunately, the way the law is written, the device has to be purchased from the same ISP that you get your service from, and the larger ISPs are not offering this part of the benefit at this time. We're hoping to uncouple those in the future, but that's the way it stands today. And the only ISP I know participating here in the region is PCs for People, but I do think that Cox is participating. If you're in a Cox service area, that they might have that. So again, as I mentioned, we got this outreach grant to help increase the number of households enrolled in the program, both on the in the Kansas City, the Missouri side of the Kansas City region, and throughout the state of Kansas, except for Topeka and Wichita. So there is more information at a website we stood up called getacptoday.org. And this enables people to figure out kind of documentation they may need to bring to apply or gather if they're doing it on their own. And so that just takes them through a few questions, and we'll let them know whether or not we think they probably qualify. Of course, we don't qualify them. That's done through USAC, but it'll give them a good idea whether to go ahead and take the time to apply. You can also print out an application and fill it out and mail it to the ACP Support Center. This is obviously going to take longer because you have to get it there and then they have to process it. So online's the best way to do it, but if somebody's uncomfortable or unable to do that, there is a paper option. And then some internet service providers do have their own application portal. So someone could ask their internet service provider if they have one of those they could use. So what's needed is an email address. And this ideally is the applicant's email address, because USAC will be communicating with them through email about the status of their application. So it's best if they have one of those and are checking it. If they don't, they can use a friend, family member, that sort of thing. It's just that that person is going to have to contact them to let them know when they got an email from USAC communicating about their application. They need some kind of legal form of identification that has their first and last name and date of birth. And you may note that the applicant's name has to be the same as the internet service provider. So if you have husband and wife, or other people who are living together, and one person might have the internet in their name and the other person is planning to apply for ACP, that's not going to work. It has to be the person who has the internet service account. So that's just a time saver off the bat, because if they do that, then they're going to have to get the application removed from the system and then apply again. So it's just a waste of time. They need one of the following. The easiest way is to enter the last 4 of your social security number. If somebody's not comfortable doing that, that's okay. But there does have to be some kind of identification document that is used to prove their identity. So it can be any of these others in this list. And it should be noted that a driver's license doesn't necessarily have to be a US driver's license, as long as it's current, and as well as the passport. Sorry, I need to let people in. Okay. Apologies if you were in the waiting room for a little while. It's difficult to present and let people in. So I apologize about that. These are some of the examples, more specific examples. If a family, household is applying to get qualified through a child or dependent, they can use a school ID. And if they have an I-10 and they have an I-10 letter, that doesn't have to have the date of birth on it. So they can also enroll if they or someone in the household participates in one of these programs. This is how they can qualify. And again, you may be familiar with Lifeline if you work with people who are very low income and need help with a phone, and any of these other federal programs, including if someone in the household has received a federal Pell Grant in the current award year. So that can be helpful for students who are maybe still claimed on their parents' tax return as a dependent, but who live independently. And then for their income, if they want to qualify through their gross income, it has to be at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. And they'll prove that through these types of examples: tax return, income statement, and it does have to be 3 consecutive months dated within the last 12 months, which can be tricky. Social Security benefit, and then you can see the rest of them there. You can also qualify, as I alluded to earlier, through free and reduced price school lunch. And that can be whether they applied as a household and got approved individually. So the student would be getting approved as that individual student, or if they attend what's called a Community Eligibility Provision school, and that just means that 25% or more of the students would qualify or have qualified through their application for free and reduced price lunch. So everyone, all students, regardless of their income, get that benefit. And the documentation is a little tricky. So it needs to have the student's name, be on like letterhead, ideally, and then, be for the current school year. And so I would just suggest that you try and qualify a family through any other way. But if they do have that approval letter, that's an easy way to go ahead and get that qualification pushed through. So there's only one monthly service discount and one connected device discount allowed per household. And it can be a little hard to determine whether or not a household is one household or more than one household. And so the program defines it as a group of people who live together and share money, even if they are not related. So if you have, 4 college students sharing a house and they all individually pay their share of the living expenses, they are not a household together. They are individual households. So if one of them wanted to get wired access and the other 3 wanted to get a hotspot or something to take with them when they're at the coffee shop or in the park or whatever, they could do that. And sometimes, people are couch surfing, or, in my instance, I have a woman who lives in my finished basement. I have given her access to my Wi-Fi, but if I didn't want to do that, she would be able to go ahead and get this benefit and get her own service if she wanted to. And because we are not one household, we don't share money, even though we have the same address. So that can be, as I said, a little tricky to figure out. So they provided this worksheet, and you can go through that to see whether or not you're one or more household. So some things to note is that the ACP does not take into consideration your immigration status, your citizenship. So that it does not matter. Again, if you want to use a foreign passport or driver's license, as long as it's current, that's okay. And in addition, applying for ACP and receiving ACP benefits does not jeopardize their ability to get a green card or sponsor a family member under the public charge test. So many people who are on that pathway will be very concerned about jeopardizing their situation. So you can assure them, because the money goes from the federal government to the ISP and not the applicant, it does not fall under the public charge test. It can be harder to prove eligibility because, excuse me, they have so many fewer options as far as federal programs to participate in. But if they have a child that's participating in free and reduced price lunch, or attends a community eligibility provision school, that might be one avenue. If they are participating in WIC, and if a child or dependent is receiving a federal Pell Grant. So we'll send this PowerPoint out so that you have access to these two links. They were provided by an organization called Education Superhighway in the event that you want to dig in this a little further. So if you are serving people who are unhoused or highly mobile, they can use the address of the shelter or enter 123 homeless as their address. And of course, that's going to require some additional address verification for them. But it is possible to help people who are unhoused get access to this benefit. And since wired access doesn't make sense for them, they could find a plan that supports mobile internet instead. So one of the things that they have to do, just getting approved is the first step, but then they have to apply the discount to their account in order for it to take effect. And so they just get this application ID when they are approved. They provide that to their internet service provider. If they don't currently have service, they can find a company on the getinternet.gov site. If they need help determining what kind of plan, they need, we do have help here if they need it, and they can contact our digital navigator, Carol Myers, and she can help them work through that. The ISP cannot run a credit check for our internet service only, but they can if other services like voice or TV are added to their plan. So in addition, they can't deny them service if they owe a past due balance. And so maybe they had service from an ISP at one point and they weren't able to pay their bill. They were disconnected and they had their balance sent to collections. If they are approved for ACP, they cannot be denied from the company to get service again. So you may be thinking, wow, this sounds like it could be really helpful for the people we serve. And so we have a portal where you can go to request some digital files or print materials, which we have here at our office. And again, we'll send this out so you have the link and follow up with that. And you can request those and we'll get those images out to you and or other materials. And then, however you end up thinking you want to engage in the promotion of this program, you would be working with Leah to create that plan. And that way we understand a little bit better how the funding that we received from the FCC is really being leveraged in the community. And this is my information and Leah's information, and we'll include Carol's as well in our follow-up. And I would just say I've included the ACP Support Center information as well, because there are just some things that are listed there that we can't help with. And so they're going to have to go to them, unfortunately, for those. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and see if there are any questions.
I have a question. Are there any workshops? So let's say for grandparents that aren't tech savvy, but they need this because they have grandchildren in school. Are there any workshops that would help them sign up just right there on the spot rather than going home and tackling it?
Yeah, so we actually are partnering with an organization called Winder and Associates, and they are coming to our LAMP campus at Linwood and 71 Highway, okay. And they can help them get through that, Daisha.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll also send those office hours to you and sign up events. So that could be a place where you can just let people know, because I know you're awesome at that. That is Dacia's superpower. She collects resources and she gets them out into the community. It's awesome.
Okay, so my second question is for the houseless population. A lot of times I struggle with that because no one seems to have a list of where to get a homeless letter from. Do you have access to that information? Because I don't want to tell people to sign up and then they hit roadblocks.
Yeah, I don't know that they would need a homeless letter per se, but it would be probably from, you know, wherever they're getting services from being unhoused.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can talk offline about that, Deja. Maybe I'll noodle on it some more.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else?
For the $30 discount on the internet services, is it like one single discount for 1 month, or is it an ongoing discount monthly?
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ongoing until the money runs out, which we think is probably going to happen in maybe April or May. There are efforts now to renew the fund. So stay tuned about that, but that will be, it's an ongoing thing, and then they'll get a notice from the internet service provider when the money is starting to run down.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Kyra's put some information in the chat. And so if you have folks who you want to sign them up for a slot to get help, Kyra's put that link in the chat. And then also the address where we are. And that, you know, again, if it's best, they really need, you know, people to sign up for a slot so they know to expect them. And in that way, they also know the volume of digital navigators they need to have on hand for the number of signups for any particular time slot. Anything else?
I was just wondering, so when the money does start to run out, would you send like us emails so we're not signing more people up or telling them to go sign up?
Well, I mean, they can still sign up.
Okay.
And you know, they'll cut off signups at some point. So
Okay.
I don't think that you'll really be at cross purposes there. But you know, if somebody gets 1 month of $30, that's $30. So
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Any last questions?
Sorry, just real quick. I don't know if you mentioned, are you gonna email the PowerPoint that you just?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll send this out as well as Carol Meyer's information in the event that they want to come during her open office hours to help get signed up. And then also the link to sign people up for the digital navigators that are here on site at other times. All right. Well, we're just a few minutes over, so I'm gonna let you go unless there's any last minute questions. All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. We'll be following up with you, and you know, super excited to have you collaborate with us to help people afford internet at home. Have a great rest of your day.